But as always, a pleasure to welcome to Sports Scene the voice of the Cavs, Joe Tate. Joe, welcome. Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Sports Scene here on WLCS TV. My name's Tim Alcorn. I'm with WEOL Radio. And of course, each and every week on the program, we like to sit down and talk with somebody involved in the athletic programs in the city of Lorain or the Lorain City School System. And this week, I guess it's a sign that I'm getting old, because way back when I started doing radio broadcasting here in Lorain County, the head football coach over at Admiral King, Tom Cisco, told me that he had a couple of young kids in the program by the name of Raymont Harris and Brian DeMarco that had some potential. Well, years later, as we sit and talk to these two gentlemen, one has finished up his career, a sparkling career at Ohio State University, and the other, Brian DeMarco, up in Michigan State, will be entering his third season as a starting lineman for the Spartan program. So they certainly have had their moments in the sun and their moments to shine, and it certainly is a pleasure to have them here on Sports Scene. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. We'll start off with a question that we'll throw out to the both of you. First of all, you're back here in the Lorain area, talking to some kids, from what I understand. Raymont, what brought you back to the Lorain City School System at Admiral King, and what have you been passing along to the kids that you've been talking to?
Well, we came back here today because Mr. Nesbitt, one of my high school coaches, he put together some type of forum for we have like an auditorium that we can speak to the kids and give them a little insight on like the experiences that we've had, and like maybe like trials and tribulations and things of that sort, that we had to go through, so that maybe we can be like a positive role model for them in their near future, because a lot of these kids in high school, need positive role models.
Brian, do you get a chance to get back that often, or is it a situation where you welcome the opportunity to get back on the rare occasions you can?
Well, I certainly welcome the opportunity, but it hasn't come very often. Last time I was at Admiral King's probably about 3 years ago, and it's nice to get a chance to talk with the kids and maybe like Raymond said, share some of your experiences and talk about life in general, and that we come from the same backgrounds that they have, and show them that there is a way to better yourself.
I know some athletes look at the word role model and they don't like it. They feel as though, hey, I'm just an average guy like everybody else, and just because I can play a sport doesn't put me up on a pedestal. But for you guys, is that a role that you like? Do you like the term role model?
Myself personally, I don't think I feel that, since I've been thrusted into this spotlight, getting media coverage and, on the TV and things of that sort, that, I will be very influential to, the younger audience. So therefore, I take it upon myself to be a role model. But that's not to say that I think that, like, all professional athletes should be role models, because they shouldn't be, because truthfully, what have they really done actually to warrant the title of role model? But besides, they had a little athletic ability and things of that sort. I think role models should come from, first and foremost, like the parents and like, professional people like doctors and lawyers and things of that sort. I think that would really help out a lot as far as our situation here.
You feel the same way, Brian?
Oh, definitely. You get all these guys that are in the limelight, and everybody sees us on Saturday afternoons. And everybody sees the press coverage and all the great things that we're doing, but you don't see all of these guys all throughout the week, and they may not be somebody that you want to look up to. So you have to kind of go with your heart, and and go with the right person, like you said, doctors and lawyers and people that are helping in your community, those should be the role models.
Let's talk about college football and your guys' individual careers. Raymont, yours just came to an end this past season with the Buckeyes. Overall, when you look back on your seasons with Ohio State, are you pleased with the way things went down in Columbus?
Oh, yeah, I'm very pleased at everything that happened. Anyone that has followed me in my football career will know that I had a pretty rocky road all the way to my senior year or whatever. I've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, playing behind people and being in the doghouse for, various reasons or whatever. But I wouldn't trade any of that now, looking at it, retrospectively, because I believe all those things in the past helped shape me to the person I am now, and I'm really happy with who I am now.
When you look back on it, any memory or anything that will really jump out at you? Obviously, that senior year was just a spectacular campaign for you, yeah. But is that the thing that will really stand out?
Actually, what will really stand out for me is the situations that I had that weren't necessarily athletic. I mean, what I remember most about college now that I'm graduating is that all the time it was an opportunity for me to be in a different social setting, because I lived in somewhat a sheltered life, because I grew up in a poverty-stricken environment where a lot of routes weren't open for me. But once I had the opportunity to move away and be interactive with other people and things and get sort of a universal education, that's what I'm going to remember the most about everything.
Raymont, I remember a couple of years ago I had Coach El Cisco on the program, and he was talking about the recruiting process and how tough that can be. And Coach Cooper, for all the knocks he took and has taken down in Columbus, Tom El Cisco sat here and gave him a lot of credit, because that was a guy that stood by you. You had the injury in your senior year of high school, and but they didn't back down, and Ohio State still gave you the opportunity to go down there and play despite the fact that you didn't have a full senior campaign. Oh,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Coach Cooper, he gets a lot of so-called flack for a lot. I think a lot of it's unnecessary, because a lot of the things that happen throughout our program doesn't have anything to do with him. It's the players, and as far as the performance on the field. And a lot of times it has to do with us. But as far as Ohio State keeping interest in me, I guess just speaking from when I talked to Coach Cooper, he said that I was the type of prospect that you couldn't really pass up, that you would take a chance on, even though I got hurt my senior year. But also, his top rival in Michigan, they were steadily on, trying to get me also. So I guess that I know he didn't want Michigan to have an upper hand on him. So yeah.
When you look back on it, Ohio State was definitely the best choice for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I'm very pleased with the person I am, and I owe it to all the experiences I've had.
Brian, you and I were chatting outside before we rolled the tape on the program here that as much as Raymont is happy with the Scarlet and Gray, you're just as pleased that you went north to go to Michigan State. Good choice.
Yeah, I've really been pleased with the choice. It was a tough decision. It came down to West Virginia, Georgia, and Michigan State at the very end. But I've had a great time there. I've started the past 2 years. I'm going to my third starting season. It was tough in the beginning. I'm not gonna. It was tough. I had a lot of hard experiences. Of a lot of troubles in the beginning, getting along with people and getting things organized to the point where I felt settled in. But eventually, it kind of.
I would think that brings us back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, the fact that you had some tough experiences, and switching from high school to college and that environment to the environment on campus is a little bit of a change. But that's why you can come back here and talk to the kids now about what it's going to take and how you got to hang in there and just deal with the changes.
Yeah, definitely.
I was talking to the kids today about bouncing back. About we had the assembly. I said, bouncing back's been one of the things that I've kept in my mind all the time. Even though somebody keeps trying to knock you down, and coaches keep knocking you down, or people in your social life knocking you down, you just got to keep bringing yourself back up to the top.
I want to talk to you guys about Big Ten football. Obviously, Michigan seems to be the team that's been on top for the past few years. You guys made a great run at them last year until you lost that final game up in Ann Arbor. But overall, is Big Ten football as tough now as it's ever been? It just seems as though there's so many quality programs now. It's not just the Big Two and the other 8. Everybody can play, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel, well, see, since I've been involved in the Big Ten for 5 years now, it seems like there's a lot more parity. I mean, it's not just Ohio State and Michigan now. Now there's Wisconsin and Michigan State and Indiana, and Penn State, and these are all legitimate Rose Bowl bound teams. So the parity in the Big Ten has definitely come up, and it's not like you can even sleep on Northwestern anymore. I mean, before that would be like a gimme win on your schedule, but not anymore. And it's definitely very physical still.
Do you like the fact, there's the bowl coalition now, and everything works out so that generally they try to get the top teams at the end to play each other in a bowl game, and yet the Big Ten is still locked into that Rose Bowl? Is that something that you'd like to see changed, or is it something that you think is good for the conference and good for the programs, Brian?
Everybody talks about establishing a playoff system, in college football. But, I'm sure I can speak for Raymont and myself when I say that, the season's long enough. If they want to tack on all these games and get some kind of system going, where they can get the ultimate champion. But, our seasons are so long, and so, by the time you play your bowl game, you're pretty much tired out, and you're ready to call it quits for the season.
Right. So what about the Rose Bowl? You like the fact that the Big Ten goes to the Rose Bowl, that there really isn't any other option there?
I like it like that. I mean, as for myself, I never really thought about it because that's just the way it's always been. But I really feel like the Rose Bowl is supposed to be like the granddaddy of all bowls. It's supposed to be like the most prestigious bowl game. But I would rather have like the two best teams being in the Rose Bowl. I mean, I don't think conferences winners or whatever, particular instances should be just locked into, certain situations, because you could have like a team that's not very good, but not like the #1 team in the nation, but they're playing in the most prestigious bowl, and I don't really think that sounds right.
Did it really eat at you last year when you didn't get that Rose Bowl shot? Is that something that'll it really bother you for the rest of your life?
Oh, definitely. Right now, it's difficult to swallow still, just knowing that Wisconsin went to the Rose Bowl. I mean, thinking back, retrospectively, you would always picture Wisconsin as one of the, Big Ten doormats.
That's right.
But they came up, and, my hat's off to them. I mean, they did a great job. But for us to lose the last game of the season like the way we did, I mean, it's really still hard to swallow.
Was Ray calling you in that week before the game over in Japan?
Not really, but I knew he was thinking about it. I was thinking about him in Japan after the game. I was like, I could just imagine that phone call that was going to get. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. You really did good.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Well, then again, though, you guys controlled your own destiny up there in Michigan, and things didn't go your way. Can you put a finger on what happened that game? Was it just one of those things where it just started to snowball when things started going bad?
We just, truthfully, it seemed like they got the jump on us, and then we got out of our game plan, and we just played catch up. And see, we weren't a catch up team. We've always led every game. We always scored on our first possessions and things of that sort, and we just weren't used to being behind. And once we got behind, it seems as if we panicked, because the key to our offense this year was like our running game. And once we got away from that, we seemed like we started throwing errant passes and things of that sort. And that's once we had to play catch up, then it was just pretty much over then.
Ray, how vocal were you at the beginning of the year, or was it just a consensus among the coaches, or maybe a combination of both, to say, give me the ball, give me an opportunity to carry the football for this football team, and I'll get the job done? Was it something that was a conscious effort on your part to perhaps make them a little more aware of you, or spring drills, and then into the summer they decided you were the guy, or was it just a culmination of things?
I think it was a culmination of things. I mean, never overtly have I said, Coach Cooper, you don't know what you're doing. You need to have me back there dotting the I.
I didn't say you told him what to do. He was doing. I just
no, but it was nothing ever like that. It was more like in the spring game and in the workouts, before that, I really stepped up, and I was pretty much a leader on the team. And I guess they seen that how my work ethic was, and didn't judge me from past years. I mean, I was always a legitimate backup who may have been starting, could have been starting, but didn't. But I guess they just felt it was my time, and they showcased me, and I'm really grateful for that.
Ray, I know you've only got a few minutes left because you got to move on, so I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. What lies ahead? Your career at Ohio State's come to an end. You're going to be graduating. Pros prospects, you got some clubs looking at you?
Yeah, a lot of teams are looking at me. Right now, it's looking really good. The last few publications that I've looked at had me listed anywhere between the late first round and third round. So, I'd be really happy going anywhere between that.
Did you go to the combines?
Yeah, I went to the combines.
How'd they work out for you?
Did real good. See, that's the thing that really thrusted me up and into the so-called upper echelon of running backs, because I guess from watching me on film, I mean, the type of offense we ran didn't really give me the opportunity to showcase my athletic ability, going around the corners and things of that sort, because we had such a stable of running backs that we were using in different situations. But they saw that I had like a 37-inch vertical, I ran a 4.5, and I weighed 225 pounds, and something like that. I mean, I guess they feel that I have athletic ability that you might can't pass up. I wouldn't pass it up.
Did you ever think it would come to this? I mean, when you were back running over at George Daniel Field and playing for the Admirals, I mean, did you think 4 or 5 years from now I'm going to be sitting here in April waiting for the NFL draft?
Yeah, actually I did. I mean, I've always had those aspirations ever since I started playing football seriously and having serious thoughts about it. I always knew I could. I always felt that I had the ability. People always told me that I had the potential. So, if I have ability, I plan on not wasting it. So, I pretty much knew I could do it.
Any team or teams that have indicated an interest that you'd really like to play for, or are you going to say like they all say, it doesn't matter where I go?
It doesn't matter, like everyone else. Nice and cliche now. It doesn't matter where I go. I'll be happy.
Ray, again, I know you've got to scoot out. You got some other kids you need to go see, but it's been a pleasure having you on, and we wish you the utmost success in your career in the NFL. Hopefully it'll be a long one, and we'll have you back on Sports Scene to talk about your NFL playing days.
That's good.
Thanks for coming by.
All right, thanks a lot.
When you get up, just unclip the mic and you'll be all set.
Okay.
All righty. It's Raymont Harris, of course, 1989 graduate of Admiral King High School, and hopefully in the years ahead we'll be talking about him playing NFL ball, perhaps here at Cleveland Stadium for or against the Cleveland Browns. And now we'll continue our conversation with Ray. If you want to get up and head out, you can do that. Continue our conversation with Brian DeMarco. Brian, we talked about Big Ten football and the year that just passed. What do you look for in the year ahead? Pretty much the same thing. It's a wide open race.
I think so. Like Raymond was saying, the teams like Indiana, Wisconsin, and just all these teams have been stepping up in the Big Ten. And now with with Penn State being in there now, it's just a legitimate race. It was tough last year, and it's going to be tough again this year. What
do you think of the fact that Penn State entered the league? Was that something that surprised most of you guys?
It definitely surprised us, but I welcome it because to me it's just another challenge. We lost to them by 1 point last year. We were up by 20 going into the fourth quarter. And,
I remember that game.
We thought we had a lock, but they found some holes in our defense and in our defensive backs or whatever happened, and they kind of came back in the fourth quarter and made a real good run for it.
I want to ask you about the fact that you're at Michigan State, third-year starter. Is college football what you thought it was going to be?
No, actually not. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a limelight situation. I don't think that coming out of high school, I realized the work that was going to have to be done. But now, being there for going on 5 years now, you realize that it's a constant, every day, monitoring yourself and really working hard, and that's been the big change in myself.
What's it going to take for the Spartans to get out to Pasadena in January? I know you guys have been close.
I'll tell you, it's been when this last year we lost some really close games that could have boosted us up in the postseason. But it's like they always say, I could never shortchange myself or shortchange my team by saying, well, we're not going to go to the Rose Bowl, because every day that's all I think about is playing in that Rose Bowl. I'd like to have that Rose Bowl ring, being my fifth and final year.
That's obviously the team goal.
Yeah, just win, just get to the Rose Bowl.
Talk. I mentioned to Ray about his role in being a leader and so forth, and now you're becoming a fifth-year player, a 3-year starter. Do you have a leadership role with this football team?
Yeah, I think so. I really kind of stepped up in this last year, and I try not to be too much of a verbal guy. I try to lead by example and lead by my work ethic more than anything. When the younger guys see me in the gym working out all the time and see me doing my thing and really focusing on the specific aspects of the game. That's what I like them to see, and that's how I like to be a leader.
How about pro prospects? I know they start looking at you early. You got some teams that or scouts that have said you definitely have the potential.
Yeah, I've run into a couple of them, and it's real iffy right now, because it's not my turn yet. We got to wait till this draft gets over, and then they'll start coming real hard. But there's been some people in looking that, I've heard some rumors and some things going on that sounds pretty good right now.
Is that something that you've always strived for, pro ball?
Oh, definitely. Ever since I was a little kid and started playing football, that's, all you ever want to do. You dream of, playing in the league, maybe playing for the Cleveland Browns would be nice, and I'd love to do that. That'd be a dream come true, but definitely, it'd be something I'd like to do.
But, they talk about the student athlete. Again, we were chatting before we went on the air about the fact you're finishing up your degree in December with criminal justice and psychology. So you've taken your athletic skills and you turned them into something you could get an education out of.
Yeah, I have about 15 more credits. I have 2 classes in the summer and internship that hopefully I'll be doing with the Lansing Police Department in the fall, and I'll be finished with a major in criminal justice and a minor in psychology.
That's great. That's absolutely super. I want to get back to Admiral King real quick, because obviously you got to be proud of the school and support them and so forth. They've gone through a rough couple of years here. Obviously the one year they didn't have football, and then Coach El Cisco and everybody else had to try to put it all back together again. Is it something that you keep an eye on? You keep in touch with the folks back here?
Oh, definitely. You never forget your roots and where you came from. And I had a lot of good people that helped me in this town that I could never forget. So I'm always checking. If I'm not always there and physically, I'm always there. My heart's always back here and rooting for these guys. And I'm going to try this year, maybe help them out a little bit, get the program back together again, and see what's going from there.
Did you ever want to coach?
Definitely.
Yeah?
I think so. I think it could be my calling. I know my wife always tells me that it could be my calling. I like working with kids. I like helping them out and trying to get them on that path. Give a little direction. Just give something back to the people that gave me stuff.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, again, like I said to Ray, continued success in your career. You got one more year up at Michigan State, so we'll be watching on Saturday afternoons in Big Ten football. But and also, speaking for the people in Lorain, thanks for coming back and talking to the kids here.
My pleasure.
I know that means a lot to them. Best of luck.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. My guests this week on Sports Scene have been Brian DeMarco from Michigan State and Raymont Harris from Ohio State University, 2 former standouts at Admiral King High School on the gridiron, and now they continue to shine in their lives both on and off the field. My name's Tim Alcorn. It's been a pleasure having you join us again on Sports Scene, and we invite you back to join us again next week when Joe Tate, the voice of the Cavs, will be with us right here on WLCS. Thank you much, and so long, everybody.